good. So let's take a minute and find our sit bones. Drop nice and tall, lengthen through the crown. Take a nice deep breath in, including the arms. Nice deep breath in. Exhaling the hands down center line. Again, nice deep breath in. Exhaling the hands down center line. And then allow the palms to fall open on your knees, facing the sky, as if you're receiving whatever the divine has to offer today. So notice what's happening in the internal body. Take a minute, starting with the thinking mind, and inviting it to maybe soften, knowing that it's always there, always available if you need it. However, mostly we need it to be in the other room. So imagine that you're with your thinking mind, and then turn and step away and walk into the other room. And you know that it's there, but now in this other room, you notice your breath, the inhale, the exhale. And you begin to notice your physical being from the inside. So what does that feel like? Imagine that you're taking a journey down your right leg into your foot. And just exploring the sensations that you might have sitting in easy pose. And then coming up to the knee and the hip. And traveling across the pelvic floor. And as you travel across the pelvic floor, notice what happens when you just slightly engage that. And then begin your journey down the left leg, still on the inside, noticing the sensations, the openness or resistance of sitting in easy pose. Traveling all the way down to the foot and your toes. And then coming back up that left leg into the left hip, and this time across the back body. So this is the back side of the pelvis, the sacrum, and the joints of the pelvis and the spine connecting. And then begin the journey up the spine. All while you're still breathing, inhaling and exhaling. Continue to breathe, but know that the journey is on the inside of the body. Notice what happens when you lean forward just slightly and then roll back onto the sit bones. And as you come up the spine, notice how the ribs expand and contract with the inhale and the exhale. And as you come to your neck, notice how the neck vertebrae, the cervical spine, stacks one on top of the other to bring your ears over your shoulders and growing long into your crown. Just notice. And as you arrive into the head, the skull, the jaw, what's happening in the jaw? Just notice. Notice what it would feel like to have the jaw be loose, but the mouth closed. So the teeth are not touching. It's almost a sensation is that if the lips were not there, your jawbone would fall to the ground. a softness. Notice as you soften through the jaw, a softening begins to occur through the hips as well. So as we move through our practice today, notice that if you're finding resistance, notice what's happening in the jaw. Now we're still inhaling and exhaling. Let's bring our attention to our breath. And notice what happens on the inhale when we mind it. Does it deepen? Does it stay shallow? Just notice. Begin to deepen that breath. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose, and invite Ujjayi breath into this. Tightening the back of the throat, inhaling, letting it sound like the ocean. We have 2 more breaths. And on the next inhale, we're going to invite the arms into this. Inhaling the hands up overhead. We're going to exhale, twisting to the right. So let this be just a nice gentle twist. Nothing too deep, just a little bit of invitation to feel the body begin to move. Looking over the shoulder, finding the breath, having 3 long deep breaths with Ujjayi, bringing the shoulders away from the ears. Inhaling, exhaling. One more, inhale. And exhale, inhaling the hands back up, coming back to the front. Exhaling the other direction. Twisting into it. Dropping out of the shoulders. Looking over. Bringing the nose, looking over the shoulder. Remembering these are gentle twists. Nothing too crazy. Just an invitation to open the body. One more breath. Inhaling, coming back to center. Exhaling the other way, deepening the twist this time. Engaging that pelvic floor, drawing out of the shoulders. Letting there be an approaching of the edge. Backing off, inhaling, growing long through your crown. And then exhaling, twisting a little bit deeper into it. Finding that edge. Nudging up against the edge. Breathing into it. Very nicely done. On the next inhale, keeping the twist in the body, but exhaling the head back over the shoulder. Looking over the opposite shoulder. Breathing into it. So this is a really nice wringing out of the spine. The beauty of twisting, especially when there's a lot of stuff in the air, if you're having sinus, if you're having any illness, is to wring out the lymphatic system. And it's almost like wringing out a wash rag, cleaning out the system. On the next inhale, let the shoulders begin to come with you. And as you bring your body back to the front, inhaling the hands back up overhead, exhaling, twisting the other direction. Dropping out of the shoulders, finding your edge, looking over that shoulder. Stopping as you meet your edge, inhaling, and then exhaling, deepening into this. Finding the edge, nudging it with the exhale. Inhaling long through your crown, exhaling, turning only the head, looking back over that shoulder, wringing it out, inviting the body to move in different ways than it's used to. Breathing into it, nowhere to go, nothing to do. Inhaling, bringing those shoulders back to center, arms come around, inhaling, coming up, exhaling them down and coming right into tabletop. Coming into tabletop, finding that foundation of the hands underneath your shoulders, the eyes of the elbows turning towards each other, knees underneath your hips, lengthening through the crown, lengthening through the tail. Find where does this posture hold you. Imagine that I'm walking around and I'm touching the crown of your head, inviting you to lengthen that head out of your neck. And then I'm going to put my hands around your waist, inviting that belly button to the spine, giving a full expression of tabletop before beginning to move with this. So on the next inhale, we're going to drop down into cow, dropping that belly button to the floor, inhaling, opening up. Exhaling into cat. Finding your breath, inhaling down. Exhaling up into cat. Inhaling down. And exhaling up. We're going to do 3 more on your own. I'm going to go quiet. Invite that Ujjayi breath back in. Inhaling into cow. Last one. Inhaling all the way into cow. Exhaling all the way into cat. Finding yourself right here back into tabletop, lengthening through the crown, lengthening through the tail, lowering down onto your elbows. Right here. We're going to first sink back into puppy. So this is not a child's pose. It's not deep into the knees. It's more of allowing your forehead to press to the earth as your fingertips, your palms, and your elbows, forearms work into the earth, feeling those shoulder blades open, feeling that back body expand. So with each inhale, feeling that ribcage open wide, exhaling out of it. Inhaling and exhaling. This might be your posture today. And this is a perfect place for you to be. If you're not feeling well, allow your forehead to connect to the earth, and anything you no longer need, just open that third eye and allow it to pour into Mother Earth. If you have the space, rise back up onto your elbows. Palms spread flat, fingers wide, curl your toes under, and exhale up into dolphin. So we haven't really worn the hamstrings too much, so don't press your heels to the floor. Let the knees be soft. Just allow this to be a static hold with wherever your knees are at. If they're bent, that's fine. You can lengthen through them because you have stretchy hamstrings. That's okay too. Breathe into it. Find your breath. Now, Now, the reason that dolphin is so powerful is because it stimulates the lymphatic system in such a beautiful way that it opens up the sinus cavities. If it becomes too much or you feel yourself begin to grow tired, go back to puppy. It's okay. 2 more breaths. Feel those shoulder blades open. Last one. And lower those knees down, sinking back into puppy. Stretching through those arms. Now, if you want to begin to sink a little bit further back, changing the opening of the back, you can. Still not a full child's pose yet. That's okay. Breathe into it. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Rising back up onto the forearms, making sure those elbows are underneath your shoulders. So if they open up and splay out when you're in puppy, make sure and bring them back underneath you. And then inhale and exhale back up into dolphin. Find your breath. Lock in. If the mind is jumping in and participating, thank it. Dismiss it to the other room and focus in on your breath. Nicely done. One more breath. You can do it. Full inhale, full exhale, lowering back to your knees, stretching out those shoulders. This time, opening those knees wide and letting the stretch be more about your shoulders coming all the way into child's pose. Sinking as far back into your heels as you can go, allowing the body to completely rest into the floor. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Inhaling, rising back all the way into tabletop. Coming back into tabletop. We're going to take a nice deep breath in. And we're going to lengthen through that right foot and let the toe go to the floor. And just press back through that and feel the line of energy all the way from the heel to the hamstring attachment at the sit bone. And lengthen through the crown. My shoulders are really wanting to help today. And so within that recognition, I realized that my core is on vacation. So inviting the core into play here. Shoulders are over your hands. Releasing that knee, coming back into tabletop. Inhaling, exhale, opening the left leg. So as you put your toes on the floor and you lean back into that heel, you'll begin to feel the line of energy open. Excellent. Inhaling, coming back to tabletop, coming back down onto your elbows. We're going to do 3 more dolphins, this time allowing yourself to work into the heels. Curling your toes under, lifting up, and work back into your heels. If you needed to pedal it out a little bit, you can. I find that's more challenging than just working down into the heels. Lifting through that tail, notice how this dolphin is a little less challenging. 2 more breaths. Focusing on that breath, feeling that heart work towards your knees. Last one. Excellent. Lower those knees down. Sink back into puppy. 1 long breath. Inhaling, rising back up, shoulders over the elbows, curling those toes under. Exhaling all the way back into dolphin. Finding your breath. Noticing anything you no longer need to bring out of the top of your head. Letting go of that head. Maybe shake it no. Shake it yes. There's no tension in the neck. 1 more breath. Lowering down, back into puppy. We've got 1 more dolphin and then we'll be done with those. 1 more. Inhaling, rising back up. Make sure those elbows are under your shoulders. Exhaling, lifting up. This time, walk your feet in one step. See if you can really lift that tail up to the sky. As if you're going to point your tailbone to the ceiling. Feel that heart space open. One more breath. Lower yourself down, open your knees wide, sink all the way back into child's pose. So as you sink back into child's pose, notice how deep you can allow yourself to drop to the floor. Dropping your head down, nowhere to go, nothing to do. Inhaling, coming right back on up to tabletop. Hands come underneath your shoulders. We're going to pour all of our weight into the right side of our body. And we're going to lengthen through the left foot and spin right open into side angle. So notice where your hand is. Is it underneath your shoulder? Breathing into it. Now, for those of you who are more advanced, you're certainly welcome to straighten that lower leg. Everybody else, stay in this posture right here. We're not lifting the leg today. We're just working on side angle. Breathing into it. From right here, turn the palm of your hand as if it was going to face the wall at the top of your head. And reach that hand all the way up and over, feeling from the side body opening, all the way from the armpit to the hip, down to the knee, all the way down. Find your breath, remembering to breathe. Two more breaths. Last one. Inhaling that arm back up to the sky, reach it, engage your pelvic floor, and turning back to the floor, coming back into tabletop right here. Now, I'm going to give you my back, and I apologize for that. I'm going to do the other side, so reach through that right foot, pouring into the left hand, opening up, catching the other side, breathing into it. Stacking those shoulders, bring long in your crown, point your toe. For some reason today, this is a little bit of a balance pose for me. Lengthen through the crown of your head, find your breath. Inhaling, spinning through that hand and reaching it all the way up and over. Creating a nice long line of energy. Engage that pelvic floor, find your center, find your balance. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Inhaling, bringing that hand back up, stacking the shoulders. Exhaling, coming back into tabletop. This time, as you find your tabletop, lengthen through your crown. This is a great place to take a child's pose. If you need a break, take a child's pose here. Otherwise, just find your full expression in tabletop. Have 2 breaths. And last one. Now we're going to curl our toes under and we're going to lift up through the tail all the way into downward facing dog. Sinking all the way back. First dog of the day. Notice if your feet are hip distance apart. For some reason, my feet are wider than the hips. So remember, hips are not always as wide as we think they are. Sinking back into those heels, giving your full expression of downward facing dog.
And if you don't have dog in you today, you can just stay in tabletop. Everything we do in downward facing dog, you can do from tabletop. We're gonna lift our right foot and then exhale it all the way up in between your hands. Help it if you need to. So from right here, if you need to modify this, you may modify it by lowering your knee down and getting into modified lunge. Okay? Honoring what's happening in your body. So we're in high lunge right now. We're going to take our left hand and put it right next to the right foot. Blocks are optional. Great place to use them here. Sinking down, we're going to spin open into a beautiful twist. Sinking down into it. Finding your breath. And if your arm isn't working for you today, you can always bring it behind you. That's just a nice modification. 2 more breaths. Inhaling through those fingertips, exhaling, coming back down, stepping that left foot up to meet the right foot. Sometimes it takes a couple of kicks for me. Exhaling all the way down into forward fold. Inhaling halfway up. So this is like standing tabletop right here. Exhaling all the way down. Inhaling reverse swan dive all the way up. Hands come all the way up overhead, coming to the center line, down to standing Anjali Mudra. Here we are, take a break. If you're dizzy, open your eyes. Look at the floor, find a point to look at. Otherwise, just revel in this time of connecting to the earth. What are you hanging on to that you can let go of? I'm going to soften my jaw so my hips will soften. I have a tendency in standing to clench my gluteal muscles, which is my butt muscles, because I don't know, I guess I think it's going to help me stand up better, maybe. Inhaling, circling in the hands down and around. Exhaling, swan dive forward. This time, step your right foot back, coming into high lunge with that left foot. Again, you can modify here if you need to by lowering that knee. Not required, but an option. Bringing that right hand next to the left foot. Engage that pelvic floor and spin open. Breathing into it. Find your breath. Inhaling through those fingertips, bringing it back down, stepping that right foot forward, looking it forward, coming back into standing forward fold. Inhaling halfway up, flatten that back, exhaling all the way down. Inhaling, reverse swan dive. Exhaling those hands down the center line. Pausing here. Feeling what it feels like to be grounded in your own feet. To be grounded into your own life. Knowing that standing firmly on your 2 feet, with your feet underneath you, will give you the connectedness and the support to move forward in life. On the next inhale, inhaling, circling the arms down and around. Exhaling, swan dive forward. This time, step all the way back into downward facing dog. All the way back. Find your dog. Give your full expression of dog, working through your hips as if you're pointing that tailbone to the ceiling. Letting that heart open to your knees, letting go of your head. Breathe into it. Nicely done. Lowering those knees down, coming right back into tabletop, right where we started. Finding your breath. What are you holding on to? A lot of times what will happen in the body will be subtle holding. We don't even realize it. And then gently come back to seated. Bringing your feet open into wide angle, whatever that looks like in your body. For some people, that's pretty wide. For others, it's not very wide. But let it be what it is in your body. So find your sit bones. I always have to go on a little bit of a journey to find mine. I have a lot of tissue there protecting them. And just allow yourself to grow strong. Close your eyes and let this moment of stillness be an internal journey of opening. Hands come just above or below the knee, but not on the knee. And take a hold of your leg and then just gently roll the leg open. So as if you were going to take your knees and face them to the ceiling. It's an outward rotation motion. You'll feel this in the hips. For some of you, you're going to feel it in your adductor muscles. If you have super tight adductors, the adductors are the inside of your thigh muscles. These have a tendency to be very tight on people. If we have low back pain, they're generally very, very tight. Breathing into it. Nicely done. Now, see if you can engage your quad muscles, which are the tops of your legs, drawing those kneecaps up, bringing the toes in, and then let go of your hands. Inhaling your hands up overhead, exhaling headed to the right. If you can reach your toe, great, do. If you can't, hand on your leg is fine. Open all the way, lengthen long, and then spin your heart open. There you go, nowhere to go. Two more breaths. Bless you. One more. There's Kleenex up there if you need them. Inhaling, coming back up. Exhaling the other way. So by doing this motion, it opens each lung. So as we reach for the left foot, it opens the right lung. As you reach for your right foot, it opens the left lung. So now we're going to move with this. So make sure that pelvic floor is engaged. Inhaling, coming up. Exhaling over. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. We're going to go one more round. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Beautiful. Inhaling, coming back to the center, coming straight forward. Now, my body will allow me to go to my elbows. If yours doesn't, you can just put your hands on the floor in front of you. Be supported in this. The hinging happens at the hips. So if you begin to lose this and you roll through, come back up and let it be from your hips, leading with your heart. Coming down, going long in your crown. So notice as you slightly tip your chin and grow long through the crown and lift out of your tail. Nowhere to go. Inhaling, coming up. Carrie, your phone is ringing. That's the third time. You might want to make sure it's not your mom. Inhaling, coming in through the legs. Bringing the soles of the feet together. Bring long and up, exhaling, heading forward, opening those knees, breathing into it. Very good. And on the next inhale, rising up. So I don't know which direction you're sitting on your mat, but turn the long way, lengthening through the feet. Inhaling the hands up and exhaling, flying forward, headed into staff pose, forward fold, lengthening through the crown, allowing this to just open all the way through the back body. On the next inhale, we're going to rise up, circling the arms all the way around, bringing them right behind you, placing your hands on the floor and lifting straight up into reverse plank. Breathing into it. Find your breath. On the next inhale, grow long through the crown, exhaling, lowering down, rising, raising the hands back up overhead, swan dive forward. Back into forward fold. Staff pose. Opening the hamstrings. Find your breath. On the next inhale, coming back up, circling those arms around, all the way down. Palms to the floor, fingertips facing your behind, lifting straight up into reverse plank. Grow long in the crown here. Let this lift happen through the pelvic floor. Lifting through the pelvic floor, letting the belly button raise to the ceiling. Find your strength. Find your breath. Still breathing. We got 3 more to go. Last one. And exhaling, lowering down. Inhaling, lifting those hands up overhead. Exhaling, swan dive forward. There it is. Breathing into it. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. So there's some really deep value in hanging out in posture. Focusing on the breath. Finding your center. Connecting in. On the next inhale, rising those hands up. This time as you exhale them down, just set them beside you. Take a moment, lengthen through those heels. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Draw that right knee in. Taking a hold of it and spinning all the way around. Twisting into it. Excuse me, feeling the body open, feeling the twist ringing out. Dropping out of the shoulders. Inhaling, coming back to center, opening that knee. Inhaling those hands up overhead, exhaling, headed straight forward. So you may or may not reach your toes, and it doesn't matter if you do or don't. Just matters that you allow your body to be what it is. Very good. Inhaling, coming back up, lengthening through that leg, drawing the other knee to the center of the body. Very nice and tall. Hooking your arm around that knee. Or if you're super stretchy, you can also put it on the outside of your knee. Not happening in this body. I will just give myself a big hug instead. Now, the body likes to lean back on the hand. So see if you can use that arm behind you to encourage you to sit up without raising into your shoulders. Sometimes that's a little bit of a trick. Breathing into it. 2 more breaths. Inhaling, coming back to center. Opening that knee wide. Inhaling, those hands are overhead. Exhaling, swan dive forward. Dropping down into it. Apparently today is all about opening the hamstrings. Feels pretty darn good. 2 more breaths. Nicely done. Inhaling, bringing yourself back up, lengthening through that right leg. Coming back, we're going to do 1 more Dandasana, 1 more staff pose, nice and tall, and head into a forward fold right here. If you can reach your toes, do it. Lengthen through those heels. Really feel the work happen through your heels. Lengthening long through the back of your legs. Nicely done. Beautiful. Inhaling, rising up, engage that pelvic floor, and exhale, roll all the way down. All the way down, hands overhead. This time, point the fingers, point the toes. Take a nice deep breath in. Let it out with a big sigh. I've noticed I'm mostly off my mat, so I'm going to move down a bit. But bring your feet into standing. We're going to work into bridge today. And now that our hamstrings are nice and strong and open, we can do some work through the front body. So scoop those shoulder blades underneath you, palms facing the floor, almost as if you have Spider-Man fingers. Feel your fingertips connect to the earth. This is part of your foundation. And then begin to exhale, engage your pelvic floor. Inhale, release it out. Exhale, engage your pelvic floor. Inhale, release it out. For those of you who have low back problems, exhale, engage your pelvic floor. This is one of the exercises they give you for low back pain if you go to physical therapy. So, this is a really powerful movement. So as you exhale, you engage your pelvic floor, lifting up through that muscle, that deep lower muscle. And then inhale, release it out. This is only about a 2-inch movement in tipping of the pelvis. They're called pelvic tilts in the physical therapy world. It's called preparation for bridge in yoga. So we're going to do 4 more of these. We're following our breath. We're exhaling, drawing through that pelvic floor. Inhaling, releasing it out. So for those of you who are new to the pelvic floor is a hammock muscle. And the best way I can describe how to engage it, it's as if you're going to the bathroom and you're going to cut off midstream. It's that muscle. So inhaling, releasing it. Exhaling, engaging it. This time, hold the engagement of the muscle. Continue to breathe. Feel your feet connect to the floor And begin to feel the physics as you press down through your feet, the pelvis begins to rise. So you can do this for so far without engaging your glute muscles, which are your butt muscles. But then eventually, as you want to go higher, you have to bring those muscles into play here. So give your full expression a bridge. You're going to feel it all the way through your quads. You'll feel it through your low back as a back bend. This is a heart opener posture. And remember that, imagine that you have a block between your knees and you're hanging on to it. Because you want to engage those adductor muscles also. Breathing into it. Knowing that any time you can come out of this. Lengthening through your crown, but always looking up. If you have to turn and look at something else, come out of bridge and then look at it, protecting the neck. On the next exhale, we're going to lift a little bit higher, working to our edge, pressing our edge, challenging it, finding your breath. On the next inhale, nudge up against that edge and exhale into it. Really feel the work. If you feel tension in your shoulders, what would it feel like to let the shoulders go? What would it feel like to let go of any muscle that you actually don't need to hold this posture? Breathing into it. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, hanging out in bridge. You're going to begin to feel the need to move. And this is keeping your eyes closed. This is the body's cue of wanting to take the lead in this particular part of the yoga practice. In this Kripalu yoga, we call it meditation in motion. It's a very deeply internal journey where the body is the guide. So keep your eyes closed. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. It matters what your body wants to do. And your body might actually want to stay in bridge, and that's okay. Stay in bridge. But the body might want something different. And the mind has no part in this. It's simply an observer. It's almost as if you're watching a sporting event and the body begins to move on its own. And you watch that movement. And if you're still hanging out in bridge, that's good. You can do that. And if you're in meditation in motion, keep going through it, following what the body needs, honoring it, honoring your own journey, because everybody's journey is different. If you're still in bridge, begin to consider the idea of your full expression of a bridge. And then begin to roll down one vertebrae at a time. Whatever that looks like in your body. And if you're in meditation in motion, continue to honor that journey. But begin to consider that in the next 4 or 5 breaths, you're going to come to resting with your knees on your chest, rocking side to side, giving yourself a little bit of a massage. And we did a fair amount of twisting through practice today. So ask yourself, do I need another twist? And if you do, then honor that. But if you do not, lengthen through the left leg and bring the right knee in and exhale, draw that knee in. Inhale, release it out. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, release it out. Exhale, draw it in. And then switch legs, bringing the left knee in, lengthening through the right leg, and exhale, draw that knee in. Inhale, release it out. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, release it out. Exhale, draw it in. Release it out all the way out, lengthening through that right leg, through the left leg, opening both palms to the ceiling as if you're going to just receive the greatest gift in the world. Feel your body connect to the earth. And if this is not comfortable for you, this version of corpse pose, Shavasana, you can always bring your feet into standing and drop your knees together. That just simply takes the pressure off your low back. And then begin to drop in. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. The most important posture of the day. Shavasana. This is the posture that allows everything that you've done in your practice today to incorporate. It's also a great place to go when you need to just drop out and completely soften into that space of not here and not there. Perfectly imperfect. When we fully arrive in our life, the first thing we accept is we are perfect in our own imperfection. Whatever arrives in our life, no matter how we handle it, it is perfect. Accepting our perfect imperfection creates space for learning and growth. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, perfect imperfection just is. And gently begin to deepen your breath.
Wiggle your fingers. Wiggle your toes. Inviting your body to come back to now. And as you're ready, roll to your side. Pressing slowly up, no rush, just allowing the body to come back to now. We'll end with one so a deep breath in, inhaling the hands up overhead. Exhaling them down center line. Namaste.